Ah, Hare Krishna.
Ishan Prabhu, can you hear me okay?
Yes, now I hear you good.
Okay. So we're live on YouTube. It's been broadcast live. So the floor is all yours.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
My pleasure.
Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyanan Gyana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Jaina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manu Pistam Stapitam Jaina Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mayam Dadati Swa Padantikam Bandeham Shri Guru Shri Jata Padakamalang Shri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raganathanditang Tang Sajivam Sadaitam Sadvadutam Parijana Sahitam. Yes. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatchadeshatarine. We take shelter of Srila Prabhupada, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada, because while he's on this earth, he's completely taken shelter of Krishna, and he's spreading this Krishna consciousness to all the countries that are filled with impersonalism and voidism. So, in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, text number 34. Tad vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshanaha. Tat, that knowledge of different sacrifice. Vidhi, you try to understand. Pranipatena, approaching a spiritual master. Pariprashnena, by submissive inquiry. Sevaya, by rendering of service. Upadekshanti, initiate. Te, unto you. Jnanam, knowledge. Jnanina, the self-realized. Tattva, truth. Darshana, the seers. Balaram Prabhu, are you still there? Anybody there?
Yeah, we're here.
Okay, my screen has gone more or less blank and I don't see you.
Because I'm screen sharing, I think.
Okay, yeah, it
Do you see
says,
the screen?
yeah, I see the screen. Now I see. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's a little bit, but the internet connection is weak.
Okay. Hare Krishna. Translation by Srila
Okay.
Prabhupada. Just try to learn the truth. Try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively. Got to make mine. Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized soul can impart knowledge unto you because he has seen the truth. The path purport by Srila Prabhupada, the path of spiritual realization is undoubtedly difficult. The Lord therefore advises us to approach a bona fide spiritual master in the line of disciplic succession from the Lord himself. Okay. So this is very meaningful. Every sentence is so. To become spiritually realized. It's not a question of joining a club or being a member of this or that. We have to have a relationship with a spiritual master. He's coming in the line of disciplic succession. This means all of them are Shakya Vesh avatar. Avatar means one who descends. The spiritual master who represents Krishna. He descends from the spiritual world, from Vaikuntha, from Krishna Loka. Tattva-darshanaha. Tattva means the truth. And darshan means to have the audience or to have the personal association of that. Tattva-darshan means that he must be an intimate associate of Krishna himself. He's not come to this, not like us at all. He's an avatar, Shakti Avesh avatar. That means Krishna, when Krishna descends into this world, he's an avatar. Means one who descends. But sometimes he does not descend personally, but he empowers. He empowers a jiva soul with all the energy of God. Therefore, that he can represent God, just like ambassador comes from one country to another country. He is not the president of the state, but he's given all of the respect as if he was the president. Therefore, we accept him. We accept Srila Prabhupada as we would accept Krishna himself. We relate to the bona fide acharya, the bona fide spiritual master, as we would relate to God himself. Why? Tattva darshanaha. Tattva means the truth, the absolute truth. And darshan, that he has the audience of the he's personal associate of Krishna. Not for one moment is he out of living connection with Krishna. This is the bona fide spiritual master. So Srila Prabhupada continues. that no one can be bona fide spiritual master without following this principle of disciplic succession. The Lord is the original spiritual master, and a person in disciplic succession, he can convey the message of the Lord as it is to the disciple. No one can be spiritually realized by manufacturing his own process, as is the fashion of foolish pretenders. In the Bhagavatam says, Dharmam hi shakshat bhagavat pranitam. The path of religion is directly enunciated by the Lord, directly enunciated by God. Therefore, mental speculation or dry argument cannot help one progress in spiritual life. One has to approach a bona fide spiritual master to receive the knowledge. Such a spiritual master should be accepted in full surrender. One should serve the spiritual master like a menial servant, without false prestige. So what is this full surrender? Srila Prabhupada will explain. Inquiries, satisfaction of the self-realized spiritual master is the secret of advancement in spiritual life. All right. Srila Prabhupada is explaining Yasya Prasada Bhagavat Prasada Yasya Prasada Nakatir Katopi. By the mercy of a bona fide spiritual master, so one can receive enlightenment. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada is saying that satisfaction of the self-realized spiritual master is the secret of advancement in spiritual life. Oh, one may say, how can we satisfy the spiritual master? He was here. He gave us this Bhagavad Gita. But now that Srila Prabhupada has departed, no Srila Prabhupada, because he's the Shakti of Avatar, just as Krishna, devotees are living in Vrindavan, and a real devotee, the topmost devotee, all of Krishna's pastimes, they're eternal. They're ever present in Vrindavan, at all the different places where Krishna has engaged in his eternal activities. Those activities are ever present. And a self-realized soul, therefore, when he goes parikram, he can see these pastimes. So, in the same way, the bona fide spiritual master is transcendental. Transcendental means that material time and material place are irrelevant. Is Srila Prabhupada that the bona fide spiritual master is the external manifestation of Krishna within our hearts. The bona fide spiritual master coming in disciplic succession, coming down to this world from the spiritual world. He's the external manifestation of the Lord in the heart. Krishna is present in all of our hearts. Sarvasya chaham hridisani vishto mata smritir jnanam apohanam cha. That the Lord in the heart, he's in the heart of all living entities, a super soul, Paramatma. And from him comes knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness. So Srila Prabhupada, who's the Shakti Avesh avatar, he is the external manifestation of that Lord in the heart. That means that beyond the jurisdiction of material conceptions of space and time, he's omnipresent. He's not only can have a personal relationship with one of us, he can have a personal relationship with all, just like Krishna is in the heart of all living entities. In the same way, the bona fide Acharya can have a personal relationship with all the living entities in the universe. That is the meaning we say Jagat Guru. He is the guru of the universe, the whole universe of all living beings. He had so many disciples, and he can have unlimited disciples, not for when he was here, but for the next 10,000 years. Srila Prabhupada is the Jagat Guru, Diksha Guru, for the next 10,000 years. This age in which Lord Chaitanya's mercy is being distributed in this Kali Yuga. So, he can have a personal relationship with each of us, all of us, simultaneously. He can have a personal, living relationship with us, all of us, simultaneously. And here Srila Prabhupada said, satisfaction of the self-realized spiritual master is the secret of advancement in spiritual life. So, because we can have a personal relationship with him, therefore we have to seek his satisfaction. How do we seek his satisfaction? Srila Prabhupada, just as Krishna wants our love. And the bona fide spiritual master, he is receiving our love on behalf of Krishna. And when he sees that we are sincere, he can give us realization. It's a personal relationship. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada writes, that satisfaction of the self-realized spiritual master is the secret in spiritual life. Unless there is submission and service, inquiries from the learned spiritual master will not be effective. But one must be able to pass the test of the spiritual master. And when he sees the genuine desire of the disciple, he automatically blesses the disciple with genuine spiritual understanding. Well, this is amazing. That we're having a relationship with someone who is all-pervasive, that's someone who is the representative of the Lord in our heart, and he can understand us. At every moment, he can understand us. And he's waiting, just like Srila Prabhupada explains, Katha Upanishad, that within the heart of every living entity, there are two, the individual spirit soul, which we are inside one body, the individual spirit soul that is conscious of the affairs of our body, our mind, and the all-pervasive super soul who is conscious of all living entities simultaneously. So he's waiting for, but the individual spirit soul, he wanted dharmasya glanir. He misused his tiny independence. He wants to, he covets the position of Krishna. Why everyone should be focused on Krishna? Why not me? Why not I become the center? So Krishna creates the material world, and all of those souls who want to have this position of Krishna, they are placed in the material world. And when we're placed in the material world, we're in total forgetfulness. We identify with this material body, ahankar. Bhumirapova nalovaya kamano buddhirevacha ahamkaram iti yame bina prakriti ashtada. That we are, Srila Prabhupada says that we all have inherently love for Krishna. It's not something that has to be added to us. We all have love of Krishna. This is explained in the 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita. That when the spirit soul, in one of Srila Prabhupada's purports, when a spirit soul comes in touch with the mode of passion, the material mode of passion, his eternal love for Krishna becomes transformed in such a way that his love is directed towards his senses. He feels that I am this body, and the satisfaction of this body will make me feel fulfilled, make me feel complete, make me feel satisfied. But he cannot be satisfied because I'm not this body. And this body is composed of material elements, which are dead matter. And they cannot love me back. They cannot reciprocate with me. Therefore, a man has 1 million, 2 million, 10 million, a billion, $1 trillion. He always feels he needs more. Therefore, Krishna explains it, because Arjuna wants to know what makes people behave in such terrible ways. Right now, the world is on the verge of world war. What makes people behave like this? He says it is lust, kama. It is the all-devouring, sinful enemy of this world. So we are engaged in sin. There's only one sin. That sin is to act and feel and think in a way which is independent of trying to give satisfaction to God. Satisfaction. That is all sin. We say, oh, there are good people in this world. There are bad people in this world. This is mundane. From a material point of view, Even a man in the mode of goodness is equally sinful. He also has to repeat in the cycle of birth and death, birth, old age, disease, and death. Anything when we are not in an attitude of complete love of God, complete love of Krishna, that is dharmasya glanir, misuse of our tiny independence. So we are learning under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, under the guidance of a being who is coming to us in disciplic succession, who is self-realized, who is empowered by Krishna as a Shakti-Avesh avatar to train us. Srila Prabhupada said, Krishna consciousness is an apprenticeship program. The student works under the supervision, under the guidance of a master. It's a personal relationship apprenticeship program. It's not like a user's manual. He is present, and we can feel his presence when we open our heart to him. And that is the only way. The only way. So Srila Prabhupada is writing, one must be able to pass the test of the spiritual master. And when he sees the genuine desire of the disciple, he blesses the disciple with genuine spiritual understanding. Blind following and absurd inquiries are condemned. So what is blind following? Blind following means that one is doing, he can be doing everything. Like everything on the checklist. If you go to have your car serviced at a garage, a competent garage, and then you go for a checkup. Just like going to the doctor, there's a checkup. There's a checklist of he tests every aspect of the vehicle, every aspect of our body. This body is our vehicle. So there's also a checklist in spiritual life. You can complete the whole checklist, what Srila Prabhupada refers to as the formula. But there's no sense of connection with the man who is attending to our body, or the man who is attending to our vehicle. There's no sense of connection. We're doing the whole checklist. This is called, Srila Prabhupada says, mechanical. Niyamagraha. The word niyamagraha means there are different meanings. Of one word means that one word, niyamagraha, one meaning means that we're missing the whole point. We're missing the whole point, which is to engage in the spirit of devotion with a genuine desire to give pleasure to Krishna's representative. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada, right, one must be able to pass the test of the spiritual master, unless there is submission and service to inquire. So what is that inquiry? Inquiry is, how can I develop my love of Krishna? How can I reawaken my love of Krishna? That is the inquiry. Submission means that working under his guidance. We say Prabhupada Anuga. Anuga means to follow. Well, we're not to follow mechanically, but to follow to engage in devotional activity under his guidance, always in the association of a pure devotee. That we have to live in the association of a pure devotee. Oh, he lives, someone may say, he lives forever by his divine instruction, and the follower lives with him. So we don't take the instructions that we want. There's other kinds of instructions. Srimad Bhagavatam 1:5-25. Srila Prabhupada writes, pure devotion is as much infectious, in a good sense, like an infectious disease. A disease, when we catch, and when we have intimate association with someone who has the disease. We also can catch the disease. COVID. You come in touch with someone who has COVID. We also can catch COVID. Intimate association. In the same, so Srila Prabhupada explains that infection of the qualities of the pure devotee means to imbibe the taste, to drink the taste, absorb the taste. The taste of what? The taste of devotion. In this way, one becomes an apprentice. He's not teaching us how to become a carpenter or a cabinet maker or a bricklayer. What is he sharing with us? He's sharing with us his heart. He's sharing with us his feeling of love for Krishna. There's no way to develop our feeling of love of Krishna, except that we have to become infected with his feeling of love of Krishna. It's an apprenticeship program. Therefore, a very intimate, Srila Prabhupada uses this word, relationship with the spiritual master is essential. And Srila Prabhupada says here, and when he sees the bona fide spiritual master is by nature very kind. And when the student is submissive, submissive means that my heart is open and I can feel his presence. That's the meaning of submissive, that I can learn from him what is this feeling of love of Krishna. Therefore, one should always engage in Krishna consciousness cultivation in the association of a person who has this love of Krishna, in the association of the self-realized spiritual master, and engage under his guidance. Under his guidance means that what is that guidance? Nectar of Devotion, chapter 12. Association is like a crystal stone, which reflects whatever is placed before. Like a mirror. Our heart is like a mirror. the mirror of the heart. That if we are in association with a bona fide spiritual master, our heart will reflect his qualities. Srila Prabhupada explained, but the mirror has to be clean. Clean mirror means that there's no other desire in the heart except to work under his guidance, to live in his association, and feel his presence. Feel his love for us, and his love for Krishna. In this way, we can. So Srila Prabhupada writes, when this is submissiveness. Submissiveness in what was that? Submissiveness to the supreme, the representative of Krishna, submissiveness to the supreme personality of apprenticeship teaching. He's the supreme personality of apprenticeship teaching. He's teaching us apprentice. We're his learning to work with the feeling, devotional feeling that he can impart to us. He's tattva darshana. Tadvidi pranipatena paraprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam. He can impart this knowledge unto you. Te jnaninas, he has this knowledge. Tattva jnaninas, because he has the audience of Krishna 100% eternally. He can take, so Krishna says, you find this kind of spiritual master and you enter into an intimate relationship with him. He can share his heart with you. And in this way, you will learn what is love of Krishna. In this way, you will reawaken your love of Krishna. It's already there, but it becomes realized. It becomes invoked in the presence of the Krishna's pure, empowered Mahabhagavata representative, because he's Tattvadarshi. He has the ongoing, loving reciprocation of love with Krishna. Always. It's an apprenticeship program. So, Srila Prabhupada is writing, when the student is submissive, what is that? When the student, his heart is open enough that he's feeling Srila Prabhupada's presence, that he's feeling the presence of the Tattvadarshi. He has always the association of Krishna, the darshan of Krishna, the darshan of the absolute truth, tattva darshan. Therefore, when the student is submissive, he can feel the presence of his spiritual master, of his teacher, who's sharing with us his heart. When the student is submissive and rendering service, in that way rendering service. We have our checklist of so many things we want to do. We have our checklist of everything that we've been instructed to do. But there is this essential, most essential aspect that has to flavor all of our activities. Everything should be done in the association of a pure devotee. Everything should be done under the guidance of Krishna's pure devotee. So when we're to have that association, to have that sense of guidance, this is the meaning of submissive. Submissive, to feel his presence. Therefore, he says, this, when we feel his presence, we can learn what is devotional service. Not official. Srila Prabhupada used this word rubber stamp, that there's so many activities we engage in. And then officially it's devotional service. He says it is not a question of rubber stamp, that doing all the right things officially, that's niyamagraha, following the formula, Srila Prabhupada says. So when we are submissive, 1.5.25, Srimad Bhagavatam, when we are submissive and we can feel his presence in our heart, because he's the external manifestation of Krishna in our heart. His devotion is as much infectious in the good sense as an infectious disease. Infection of the qualities of the pure devotee means to imbibe the taste of devotion, always in the association of a pure devotee of Krishna. This is the apprenticeship program. Imagine what we're talking about. Imagine what we're talking about. Try to understand, all of us, myself, yourself, we have to have a personal relationship with Krishna's pure devotee, a living relationship. Yeah, that the Christians, they talk of the Holy Ghost, hey? God the Father, God the Son, and the Holy Ghost. We have to be under the influence of the Holy Ghost. That Holy Ghost is Paramatma. That Holy Ghost is, is Krishna in the heart. So we cannot sense the presence of Krishna in our heart. He's waiting for us to turn to him, but he sends his representative for us to receive the Holy Ghost. so, so that is the bona fide spiritual master. He can, from him, we can imbibe. What is the Holy Ghost? What does he give us? He gives us Prema Bhakti Yaha Hoite Avidya Vinashayate. From him, this love of Krishna, it emanates. It emanates. We sing every morning, huh? Guru Puja, Prema, at the lotus feet of our spiritual master, only way by which we can attain this pure devotional service. Not officially, actually, how it works from him. The heat and light, they emanate from the sun. The sunshine, it emanates from the sun. It goes everywhere. It fills the universe. From the Krishna's pure devotee who comes to us from the spiritual world, love of Krishna emanates. Prema Bhakti Yaha Hoite. From him, love of Krishna emanates. And by him, our ignorance is destroyed. How our ignorance is destroyed? Srila Prabhupada says, the infection of the qualities of the pure devotee means to imbibe the taste of devotion. in the association of a pure devotee, apprenticeship. And he says, and this taste makes all material tastes unattractive. That is what, just see, we imbibe the taste of his devotion, and it makes the taste for material things unattractive. That's in 1.5. And similarly, we say 1.525 in the Prema Bhakti Yaha Hoite Avidya, our nescience, our illusory conceptions of life, and our desire for material fulfillment, avidya vinasha. Our ignorance is destroyed when we get that taste from him. Our material tastes become vanquished. When we have a dark room and you turn on the light, the darkness is vanquished. Prema bhakti yaha hoite avidya vinashayate. From him, this love of Krishna emanates. By him, in this, if we can catch it, if we can place ourselves in that sunshine, if we can place ourselves in that light, prema bhakti yaha hoite, from him this love of Krishna emanates. And if we can catch it, imbibe the taste, our ignorance is destroyed. So this is a very personal relationship. How personal? In the 10th canto purport, Srila Prabhupada explains the meaning of Diksha. He said Diksha means the establishment of a heart-to-heart. These are Srila Prabhupada's written words. The establishment, Diksha means the establishment of a heart-to-heart relationship with the pure. Srila Prabhupada explains in that very purport that the bona fide spiritual master has Krishna in his heart eternally at every moment. And therefore, one must have a bona fide spiritual master. One must have a relationship with someone who has Krishna in his heart, who has captured Krishna. How has he captured Krishna? Premanjana churita bhakti vilochanena. That his eyes are smeared with this salve of love. He has Krishna always in his heart. We also have to have our eyes smeared with this salve of love. How can we get that salve? Pure devotion is infectious, in a good sense, like an infectious disease. Infection means to imbibe this taste and get this salve in the association. This salve is infectious. To imbibe this taste, this salve, in the association, engage in Krishna consciousness under the guidance of someone who has Krishna always in his heart. We must have a heart-to-heart relationship with him. Not officially engaging in devotional service, but Srila Prabhupada writes here that we have to pass the test. We have to satisfy him. So he says, the bona fide spiritual master is by nature very kind toward the disciple. Therefore, when the student is submissive, if you're an apprentice of someone, you were very submissive. We're trying to understand. I hear different voices, so I'll continue anyways. Therefore, when the student is submissive and always ready to render service, so then rendering service always means not just officially doing all the right things, but in an attitude of submission to be under his guidance. Yeah. Then the reciprocation of knowledge and inquiry. Inquiry what? Inquiry, how can I wake up, reawaken this feeling of love of Krishna? I can, so the love of Krishna means there are activities of devotion, love, feelings of love for Krishna. And so how can we get those feelings of love of Krishna? Cultivate those under proper guidance. With someone who has those feelings of love of Krishna, we can become infected with his feelings of devotion. This is Krishna consciousness. Srila Prabhupada, in this very book, Srila Prabhupada says in the preface, that if one person, that we've distributed so many millions of these books, Bhagavad Gita, if one person actually understands what we're talking about today, if one person actually takes up this process of cultivation of Krishna consciousness under the living guidance of a pure devotee who has Krishna always in his heart, whose eyes are smeared with the salve of love. Therefore we say, how is it said? That that the spiritual master is the transparent via media for seeing God through his eyes, because his eyes are smeared with the salve of love. When we can see through his eyes, and because he has eyes are smeared with the salve of love, he can see Krishna at every moment. When we can see through his eyes, which are smeared with the salve of love, we will see Krishna. When he's satisfied that we are submissive enough that we can receive his guidance, his association, his instruction. The spiritual master is the transparent via media like a pair of glasses we're wearing through which brings something into focus we can see. To bring Krishna into focus, we have to see him through Srila Prabhupada's eyes, which are smeared with. So then we need to have very intimate association with him. 724. We have this expression. 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. To have this sense, we're always trying to please our spiritual master, but before he will share this knowledge with us, it's not that he's withholding, he's waiting for us to open our hearts to him. He's not hiding, he's waiting. And when he understands that this is all that we want, immediately, proportionately, he shares with. So Lord Chaitanya, he's distributing this, what no other incarnation has ever offered before, freely. So we should ask ourselves, why I don't have it? this love of Krishna is being distributed freely. Why I don't have it? It is feedback, because I don't have yet a living relationship with someone who's just coming here simply to distribute it. That's, in other words, it can take us 1,000,000 births, or we can have it in 1 second. Srila Prabhupada said, one can be Krishna conscious in a second. What is consciousness? What is Krishna conscious? It is this consciousness of love, as opposed to the consciousness of, I want to satisfy my mind, I want to satisfy my body, my senses, subtle and gross, false ego, false sense of self. I'm trying to satisfy this false sense of self. How is this false sense of self removed? This false sense of self is avidya, ignorance. Prema bhakti yaha hoite. From him, this love of Krishna emanates. And if we can place ourselves in the light of the association of the bona fide spiritual master, we can imbibe the taste of love of Krishna. And our ignorance is destroyed. And when we're in the light, there's no more darkness. We have to learn to live, to walk in the light at every moment. How deficient I am. How deficient I am. Is it the other processes of God realization? Yoga means link, just like on our computer. There are links to different websites, link to this, link to that. There's a link between ourselves and Krishna. This is the meaning of yoga, means to make that sense of connection. The only way, there's so many ways, karma yoga, jnana yoga, ashtanga yoga, this yoga, that yoga. What does it? Bahunam janmanam ante. After millions of births, one may begin to understand by the jnani, the one who's making so much knowledge. We all have so much knowledge, but we want 2 kinds of knowledge. There's Gyan and Vigyan. Raja Vidya, Raja Goyam, Pavitram Idamutamam. There is Gyan and there's Vigyan, realized knowledge. So to have this, one can have this knowledge of connection with Krishna, but the only way to be connected with Krishna, bhaktya mama vijanati. I don't reveal myself, Krishna says, except to one who loves me. Where will we get that? Where will we find that love? Where will we get that love? If you can go to the store and purchase this bhakti quality, then we should do it. But we won't find it anywhere except that it's being shared with us by a pure devotee. Isn't the Krishna conscious not a question of being a member of something? We're this member of that is very good. Prabhupada Nuga, this, or devoted this society, that society. The official member, I can wear a badge. It doesn't make me a devotee of Krishna. Only way to become a devotee of Krishna. What is the meaning of anuga? Anuga means to follow. Srila Prabhupada writes that in Nectar of Instruction, that we shouldn't judge this pure devotee by his external presence, by his external, the outside, we should try to understand the internal feelings of the pure devotee. That we have to be submissive enough to understand the internal. If one, Srila Prabhupada says, if one person from all these millions of books that we've distributed, if one person becomes a real devotee, a pure devotee, Srila Prabhupada writes, he'll consider all of his efforts to be a success. In other words, pure devotion is very, very rare. Of course, it may take us many births to reach that position, but Srila Prabhupada is also saying that one can do this in 1 second. It's simply a matter of, quote, understanding and accepting. So real acceptance means to cultivate this submissiveness so that we can engage in devotional service under his guidance, in his association. Srila Prabhupada writes in Chaitanya Charitamrita that when the disciple has actual love for his spiritual master, when the disciple has actual love for the bona fide spiritual master, everything is revealed. Everything is revealed. It's just like you go to see some very big man. Say you want to see the President of the United States or any other nonsense country. He had the man, the president, the prime minister, the whatever. He has a secretary. You can't just go and see him. But if the secretary takes you, immediately you can walk through that door. Immediately. Srila Prabhupada is Krishna's secretary. He can put us in touch with Krishna immediately by sharing his love with us, his love for Krishna. So we have to learn to cultivate Krishna consciousness under his guidance, and that means we must have a personal relationship with him. There's no other way. And it's that he's aware of us. It's that he's aware of our every thought, word. He's the external manifestation of Krishna in the heart. Krishna in the heart in Katha Upanishad, he's simply waiting for us to turn to him. It's not a question that one day I'll become advanced and then I'll have this love. It's that when I have this love, then that way I'll advance. It's not that when I become realized, then I'll have love of Krishna. It's when I have this love, I'll become realized. Where will we get this love? Tadvidi pranipatena, paraprashnena sevaya. So in so many ways, we're saying the same thing, that one can do this in 1 second. So actually, we have no right to speak to you like this because we're a hypocrite. We like the idea that we're trying to cultivate through our sadhana, etc., for his satisfaction. For his satisfaction. Srila Haridas Thakur, he writes, no, it's written by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. in his Chaitanya, no, Sri Harinam Chintamani. When we chant the holy name, we should be meditating on two. We should be meditating on Krishna, and we should be meditating on our spiritual master. It's written. Because without meditating, just the second line of Gayatri. And Guru Devaya Vidmahi. So we don't speak publicly, but the translation is there. Let us meditate. Verse number 3 in Gayatri. Let us meditate on our pure devotee spiritual master and become enthused. Dimahi, it says. Dimahi. And Guru Devaya Krishnandaya Dimahi Tanagaro Prachodayat. Let us meditate on Krishna's pure devotee, our spiritual master, and become enthused in our Krishna consciousness by meditating on his enthusiasm. That's we are initiated to be Brahmin. That is Brahmin. Someone who knows Brahman. So how do we know Brahman? We become enthused by feeling his enthusiasm. Imbibe the taste. Prema bhakti aha hoite. That makes the taste of material things unattractive to us. So we have to, wherever we look, it's in all of our teachings. Yes, we know I'm not this body. Actually, we don't know. So we're not qualified to speak like this because they're very faltering. Srila Prabhupada says, fixed up. We have this different thing. I have in my workshop different kinds of glue. There's something it's called contact cement. You paint it on two different surfaces, you expose to the air, and when you touch them together, they become fixed up. You cannot tear them apart. The two pieces of wood, the two pieces of anything, the countertop, whatever we call it, they become so tightly connected with each other, fixed up, that if you try to tear them apart, the materials will be torn rather than break the bond where they're joined. The materials, you can't tear them apart. It's contact cement. We have to have this contact cement. So we're talking about these things so that all of us, the speaker included, should come gradually to this platform, but at least let us understand the science of Krishna consciousness. Therefore, in this purport, we're reading that absurd inquiries useless, and that Krishna consciousness, a blind following. Blind following is that our following should not be based that, oh, it's a nice philosophy, I'll do this, I'll do that, trying to conform to the standard. We should have realization. The opposite of blind following is realization. What is the realization? The realization is that when we have his association and engage in Krishna conscious activities, in his association, under his guidance, imbibing the taste of his devotion, being enthused by his enthusiasm, his blissful, joyful Krishna consciousness that he shares with us. Then that will be our realization. That is called the nectar of devotion. We have a book, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, the nectar of devotion. It means that as soon as we are the very moment that we acquire, but through submissiveness, imbibe the taste of his devotion, the heart becomes filled with a nectar, a sweet taste. We get the nectar of devotion. That is how our ignorance is destroyed. And we want more. Srila Prabhupada once said to me, he showed me that like someone is injecting drugs, that they become an addictive drug into the arm with the hypodermic needle. He said that Krishna consciousness is like that. What does that mean, that we become addicted? It means we begin to taste the nectar of devotion. At the very moment that we are devotional, we would taste the nectar. You can't separate the sweet taste of devotion from the activity of devotion. The action of the heart, subtle activity, thinking, feeling, and willing. This is also activity of the heart, to feel. As soon as we engage under his guidance, we will taste the nectar of devotion. The nectar of being devotional. It fills our heart with a sweetness that is addictive. We want more. Then we're caught. Then we're safe. The spiritual master, he's like, we're all in the prison house. This material world is a prison house for the criminal orientation. What does criminal mean? It means we've broken the Constitution. In every city, in every country, there's the law by which the individual citizen relates to the state. It's a Constitution. There's laws by which we relate to God, to Krishna. It's our constitutional position. And in the state, when someone breaks their constitutional position relative to the state, they throw him in the prison. In the same way, because we've broken our constitutional relationship with Krishna, no, I don't want to love Krishna. I want to be Krishna. Therefore, we're here. Everyone wants to be Krishna, and therefore we're on the verge of world war. Because if there's one Krishna, things are very nice. But if everyone wants to be Krishna, we're all in competition, where there's avarice, envy, anger. It's the all-devouring, sinful enemy of the world. All-devouring. It destroys everything. It makes this material world into a hell. So we have to, so the spiritual master, so when we're in prison, when we're beginning to have a change of heart, we're assigned we're let out of the prison. We're assigned is an intermediate position, not total freedom. He's a parole officer. We're in freedom as long as we stay in relationship with a parole officer. And when we break parole, this is a common phrase, to break parole, immediately we're back in prison. Therefore, we have to always be living with a living sense of relationship, of connection with someone who's, as an apprentice, learning how to be in our constitutional position. That is our constitutional position, to be in the association of Krishna's pure devotee, imbibing the taste of his devotion and working under his guidance as his apprentice. This is Krishna consciousness. It's not an official rubber stamp that I'm a member of anything. So he says, when we chant the holy name, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Eva Kevalam, Kalo Naste. In this age of Kali, there's no more, there's no other way. Nastyeva, 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 Gatir Anyata. Gati means the goal. Yoginam apai sarvesham. Of all the yogis and of all kinds of yogis, Krishna said. Yoginam api mad gatena. There's that same word, gati. Mad gatena, making me the goal. How is he making me the Madgatain antaratmana, antaratma, within the core of his heart? How? Shraddhavan, with faith. Bhajate yomam, bhajan, with faith and love. He is the greatest yogi of all. So we have to approach Krishna with this love. Where can we get this love? Therefore, we're under the guidance of our parole officer, transcendental parole officer, the bona fide spiritual master, not some conditioned soul who's appointed by nonsense GBC, governing board commission, governing board to hell, that they should do such a thing. Governing board to hell. What they can give you. If I have 10 cents in my pocket, I can give you 10, I can give you 9, I can give you 8. But if I don't have 10 cents in my pocket, what can I share with you? How can I, Prema Bhakti Yahoit, if he doesn't have this love of Krishna, how he can share it with you? They can only go to hell. They can only take us to hell. So we have therefore Tattva Darshana. The one who has the darshan of Krishna, he becomes the spiritual master. He can share knowledge with you because he sees the truth. How in such a short time after the departure of the pure devotee, how is it possible that such a thing could happen? Because it's demonic. There's no other explanation. Because it's demonic. It's in total revolt against everything we're being taught, against the science of Krishna consciousness, that somebody should take a position of like that he has absolutely no qualification. But this is somehow, this happens after Krishna's bona fide representative departs. The whole thing goes to hell. Even Krishna was here himself as Lord Chaitanya. Krishna was here himself. God was here walking on this planet himself. And in a very few years, the whole thing became nonsense, total nonsense. And people are having rasa dances. people, so Bhaktivinoda Thakur was throwing in prison people like that. So when the pure devotee departs, because we're here in this material world, because we're criminal. We're here in this material world because we're envious. So Srila Prabhupada explains that the spiritual life is like a razor's edge, so sharp. One false little move and immediately we draw blood. That spiritual life, our spiritual life is like a razor's edge. What does that mean? It means that as soon as we are not taking shelter, as soon as we don't have this devotional feeling in our heart, immediately Maya grabs us. Immediately. And we don't know, it's explained in Nectar of Devotion that we have all these desire seeds in our heart. And they fructify and they arise. We don't know when it's going to arise. This desire, that desire. And how can we be safe from these desires? If we're taking shelter, if we're fixed up, they can pat, just like the matador. They have insanity in this, on this planet, that people are going for entertainment to watch one man torment a bull. He's flashing his cape, and the bull he's enraging the bull. Bull, the symbol of Dharma, and he's trying to make him enraged. The bull charges him, and he moves his. He says, "I'm really there," but he's not there. He sidesteps the bull, and they say, "Ole, ole," and they think this is very wonderful. So we if we are not taking shelter, we sing everyone, ha ha Prabhu, ha ha Prabhu Gora Doya, Deho More Pada Choya, ha ha Prabhu Gora Doya. O Master, be merciful unto me. Give me the shade of your lotus feet. I'm under the influence of this Maya, unless I'm in association with you, imbibing the taste of your devotion, and then immediately I'm under the influence of Maya, and we don't know what's going to come up in our heart. We've broken parole. So it's like a razor's edge. One tiny little move wrong, incorrectly, and we're drawing blood. In the same way, as soon as we break parole, as soon as we're not in his presence, under his guidance, taking shelter. Please give me your shelter. Please give me your shelter. Then we're in, Maya is immediately there. Immediately. We don't even know it. Maya is so slick, so crafty, so subtle. As soon as we're not under his protection, Maya is taking charge. And whatever comes up in our heart, we'll do it. And then we're again in the cycle of birth and death. Under that law. We're not in, there's the law for freedom and there's the law for criminal. We're under the criminal law. We're breaking the constitutional position. And we're again in the cycle of birth and death, drawing blood. And so we have to cultivate this. And we want to break out of the cycle of birth and death. So we're talking about this process for bringing this science into focus so that we will gradually be encouraged that, yes, I want to do this. I want my freedom. As Srila Prabhupada explained, having a spiritual master, it's not a fad. The spiritual master has to be bona fide, that he can share this with us. And his disciple has to be bona fide, that he can be submissive and receive this kind of instruction, this kind of training, to be an apprentice of the master for imbibing the taste of love of Krishna through all of our activities. We talk about this so that we can have an orientation. Whatever there is, whatever program there is on this planet, whether it's the Army or the Marines or the this or the that, or becoming part of something, there's an orientation. That's Sambandha. The very first step, Vedanta Sutra Sambandha Abhadeya Prayojana. Sambandha means understanding the way the game is played. What is my position? If we don't know the rules of a game, you can't play. It's soccer or football or baseball or any other game. There are rules. First, we have to understand the whole business. Sambandha. Abhadeya means I begin to act under proper guidance. Prayojana means to have the finished result, love of God. So we are getting our orientation like this. That's the purpose of these classes. It's an orientation. And then if we hear it and we understand it, then we have to think within, how can I come to this position? Srila Prabhupada's not hiding from us. He's waiting for us. He just comes from the spiritual world to share this with us. We have to become, that's called surrender. That's the meaning of surrender. Surrender means I replace my perverted consciousness by imbibing the taste of his consciousness. And learning to, now, one can do this, Krishna consciousness, and Srila Prabhupada says, in 1 second. So we're talking like this because for 2 reasons. One, we want to encourage each other, and also we want to cultivate like this ourselves. To have a personal relationship with Srila Prabhupada. It's our savior. We're drowning, or we're burning samsara davanala lida loka. Yes, in this forest fire of material life. And to put out that fire, we need the association of the pure devotee who can teach us, who can share with us his heart, who's so kind that although we're so madly after this misuse of our tiny independence, he's willing to share with us his heart. He's come for that purpose. We have to learn how to walk in his association, never alone. To chant Hare Krishna under his guidance, Harinam Chintamani, while chanting the holy name. The teachings of Lord Chaitanya, chapter 18, quote, the process is that the spiritual master chants the mantra, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. And the sound vibration enters the ear of the disciple. And if the disciple chants with equal feeling, this becomes the worship of the holy name. We can't even chant the holy name unless we do it under his guidance. He's sharing his feeling with us. Songbook. Bhakta Songbook. I offer you all respect, for thus I may have the ability to understand you correctly. Then I can chant the holy name with devotional feeling, and all my offenses will cease. Prema bhakti yaha hoite avidya. Oh, you who understands Bhakti Vinod Thakur, right? You who knows, who tastes the nectar of the name. When will I hold your feet until the end of time? This is the way we chant Hare Krishna, not mechanically. Mechanically will give us a relief from our anxiety, etc., but it will never develop love of God this way, never reawaken, invoke. It will be invoked only in the association of Krishna's pure devotee. I have quotes like that on my computer, taken from our books, taken from Srila Prabhupada's lectures. There will be mitigation of the unwanted, quote, mechanical chanting will produce mitigation of the unwanted superfluous miseries of the material existence, but it will not serve to invoke our dormant love of Krishna. You can only get it in the association of Krishna's pure devotee. That is the meaning of niyamagraha, that I'm doing it. We're missing the point. Only he can give us that essential aspect. We can do this for millions of births and never change. So we have to, like that, as we're serious about this process, that I'm in this cycle of horrible birth and death, again and again in so many species of life, eating others and being eaten by others. And we have this opportunity to leave this material world and return to the spiritual world. So we have to. So what is the attitude? Ha ha Prabhu Koradoya. Oh Master, be merciful unto me. Or as is said in our song, please let me be with you. Or every chapter in Chaitanya Charitamrita ends in the same way, praying. Krishnadas Kaviraj is taking Rupa Raghunath as his spiritual master, praying at the lotus feet of Rupa Raghunath, always desiring their mercy. I engage in this way, writing this Chaitanya Chara, following in their footsteps. What does that mean, follow? That is anuga, following. What anuga means following their learning from them, praying at their lotus feet, always desiring their mercy. And we were reading this morning, when the spiritual master sees that we're really trying to follow anuga, really trying to follow, imbibe the taste of his devotion, when we're really being submissive, and then he blesses us, he shares. He changes the quality of our heart. He shares his love with us. We can learn from him what is devotion. So in the 1:5:25, it says that at first, as soon as you get this taste, he says the neophyte imbibes the taste. This is not an advanced thing we're talking about. This is the meaning of diksha. To have a heart, quote unquote, heart-to-heart relationship with a bona fide spiritual master who has always Krishna in his heart. This is the neophyte, diksha. This is the beginning, the very beginning. I've been a devotee for 50 years officially, and I haven't come to this point. This is diksha. So he said, oh, uh, oh, Master, we sing every day. Oh, Master, be merciful unto me. Give me the shade of your lotus feet. I'm burning under the scorching rays of the material energy. I need shade. I'm praying at the lotus feet of Rupa Raghunath. Always, every moment desiring their protection, desiring their mercy. How do I get that mercy? Following in their footsteps, trying to imbibe the taste of their devotion. Prema Bhakti Ahoy. From him, this love of Krishna emanates. If we can touch it, our ignorance is destroyed. So simple. So simple. So first we have to understand, and then we have to cultivate like that. Srila Prabhupada said, Krishna consciousness is only a matter of understanding and accepting. Real acceptance, everyone here will say, yes, we accept. Of course we accept. We like this philosophy very. The measure of real acceptance is to engage with joyful enthusiasm. Without enthusiasm, Srila Prabhupada, and without being joyful, if we really accept, we're joyful. This is wonderful. So we have to approach Srila Prabhupada with a frank and open heart. And if we approach him with a joyful enthusiasm, immediately we feel his presence. Immediately. You're not following a checklist with a clipboard. I've done this, I've done this, I've done this. But doing all of those things in the association of pure devotee, under his guidance, as his apprentice, and then he's just waiting, he's not hiding, waiting for us to approach him with that kind of submissiveness to receive what he's willing, desiring to share with us. And this is the process of Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna. Yeah, if anyone has something also to say or to inquire, this is what we're here for. Hare Krishna. Balaram Prabhu.
Thank you so much for another riveting class on Guru Tattva, and I guess this class would be called Bhagavad Gita 3.4.34 and
Prabhu,
more. I
I want to see you, Prabhu. And
okay. So my
and
internet is not so strong. That's
oh,
why I'm.
okay, that's all right. Oh, there you are, my
Let's see.
dear,
Seems to be
my God
okay
brother.
now, but if
You're my God brother. Hare Krishna. Prabhu. You send me. I learned how to do those links, like we were talking about. I got some help from uh, technical support from because I've learned. You'll send me a link to
yeah,
this as well. Oh, could you send me a link? Oh well,
absolutely.
we'll talk separately. Maybe someone wants to ask
Yeah.
something or say something. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, me. But actually, no, I should shut up.
Oh,
Ramachandra Prabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, if you have any questions, any comments, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna. No, this is a very nice class. I have no questions.
No
oh,
questions
Ramachandra
from my
Prabhu.
side. No questions from my side. I'm just listening. So yeah, this things Ishan Prabhu has mentioned several times in his discussions with me, and the discussions we have had. So it's very nice to hear that a lot of people are stuck on the bodily conception of life, thinking that spiritual sound is material sound. It's like material sound. So it's totally different. Prabhupada being a pure devotee from Krishna's representative, anything he does and writes in his books is purely on the spiritual platform. So people take shelter of it wholeheartedly. They can immediately benefit, which is Ishan Prabhu saying over and over that you don't need some sort of failed personality who's not received this Krishna prema to act as a vine medium for you to advance in spiritual life. So the message is very clear to and very simple as well. So I'm very much appreciating that insight.
I have a question. I do find myself in front of Prabhupada in Guru Puja, not at any other time, sadly. So I'm not very eager for it. But I'm praying to him that I want a solid relationship with you. I want a more real relationship with you. Please help me do that. And it's not there. So as of yet. And I hear this is the main complaint from people. And we even saying it in the class today that it's an apprenticeship. So usually an apprenticeship is immediately that you don't go to school, you don't study books. It's just a person working physically together with a master, and very quickly, 2 or 3 years, they master everything and have lots of nice experiences. So in our trying to, what did I write here? Developing a solid, living, love-filled relationship with Prabhupada. How do we induce that to happen, let's say, more quickly? Yeah, more quickly, I guess, because I mean, it will happen as time goes by, but, you know, please.
This is only a person who has really listened to what we're trying in our own insignificant way to share. Only a person who's really listened will ask a question like that. This is true. He said, if this is all that's required, how can we do it? So
maybe if you want, you can add in there why it isn't happening to people, because lots of people are serving Prabhupada. You know, lots of people have been serving Prabhupada 50 years, 70 years. So.
The first problem is that we're not understanding the philosophy. Although we sing these prayers every day, Yasya Prasada Bhagavad Prasada, only when he's satisfied. It means he's a person and he's aware of us. When he's satisfied, it means it's the living relationship. We say that every day. We sing that, and we sing every day. Prema Bhakti, from him this love emanates, and if we can catch it and cultivate it under his guidance, our ignorance is, we sing these things every day. So why is that? So we have to, it has to be brought into focus in our intelligence that this is necessary. Then the question arises, how can we do it? That's the real question. So everything is a matter. Srila Prabhupada is creating a society of brahmanas. That's what he was trying to do. Yes, Varnashram he wants to introduce. But among his students, he wants to create a society of Brahmins. So a Brahmanical man, a person, man, woman, whatever, child. The child has an advantage over us because the child is immediately submissive. We have to be like children, very innocent, open heart. The Brahminical mode of goodness, we have to come to the mode of goodness. The mode of goodness is explained in different places. We have to learn how to walk in the mode of goodness. We talk about if you have a nice vehicle, it has cruise control, right? You've heard of cruise control? So you set at how it's, in the same way we move through life, there are different modes of material nature. How are we cruising through life? What is the quality of our heart? Srila Prabhupada explains in Krishna books, volume 2, towards the end, that the 4 regulative principles are, this may be a shock, but it's what Srila Prabhupada, they're the preliminary qualifications for entering the mode of goodness. The four regulative principles are the preliminary. It is turning from an animal into a human being. So, but the essence of the mode of goodness is the quality of the heart. So everybody's heart in passion and ignorance. Passion means I'm thinking if I can acquire this or do this or get this from the fridge or get this on my job or make more money or I'm trying to repair this machine and if it works I'm happy and if it doesn't work I'm not happy. That's called fruitive, trying to enjoy the result of my action. That's passion. To be in this, and ignorance means lamentation. If only things had worked differently. If only I had been raised in a different family by loving parents. If only something happened in my school days, childhood days, if they had treated me differently, or they didn't. I don't like the way they treated me 20 years ago when I was in kindergarten or grade 5, and I'm still carrying resentment. I'm living in the past. I'm living in the past. It's ignorance. You can't change the past, but we're always living in the past, and letting it influence how we, and living in, I make a plan. I have a to-do list. And if it's working, I'm feeling good. And if it's not working, I'm feeling badly. This is fruitive. That's the mode of passion. Krishna says, 1854, Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma. Brahma Bhuta means on the spiritual platform, my real identity, with a joyful heart. With a joyful heart. Yeah, what happens when one has a joyful heart? Na sochati na kankshati. These desires for fruitive desires evaporate. Na sochati na kankshati. Lamentations over things of the past evaporate. As soon as the heart is joyful, there's satisfaction. They're the same thing. We have to learn how to be satisfied. Samodamastapashocham. What is the first qualification of the Brahman? 1842 in Gita. Peacefulness. He's peaceful within his heart, and he can be austere. Why? Because 1715 to 1717 in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna talks about mana prasada. Srila Prabhupada translates it in the word for word, satisfaction of the mind, mana prasada. In the verses, you use a different word, serenity. A person who's serene. Don't think about this word for a minute. Try to feel serene. Serene and satisfied, satisfaction of the mind. It means I'm completely fulfilled in this very moment. Samodama, this is the quality of a Brahmin. He's peaceful. Why is he peaceful? Because he's serene. Why is he? His mind is satisfied. You know what Krishna says in 1717? He says, this is the austerity of the mind. to give up being fruitive and give up lamenting about the past and be in a mood of total self-satisfaction. This is the Brahminical plan. So Krishna says in 17:17 that one who practices this is the austerity of the mind in the mode of goodness. This is the Brahminical plan. He's always, that's his cruise control. We can't go to Srila Prabhupada when we're thinking of the past, and we can't think of Srila Prabhupada when we're thinking of the future. He says that association is like a crystal stone, like a mirror. Our heart will reflect his qualities, but the heart has to be clean. The mirror has to be clean. What is the dust on the mirror? It's living in the future and living in the past. That's the dirt on the mirror. We can't approach Srila Prabhupada with that open heart to receive unless that's all, but one has to be peaceful. So, or Srila Prabhupada is explained that in Nectar of Instruction, utsahan, enthusiasm, joyfulness of the heart. So then another quality, self-control. Samodamas tapa, austerity, shocham, cleanliness, shantira, peacefulness in the heart, arjavamevacha. To be, this is something we can cultivate, these qualities. Krishna says in 17:17, don't do it because it makes you feel good. He says, but if you accept this austerity of the mind and do it for my pleasure, imagine, Krishna says, you can feel peaceful. You can feel serenity in your heart. You can feel this joyfulness in your heart. And you do it for me. Then this is the austerity of the mind in the mode of goodness. That's the exact words. So then in 1851 to 53 in Gita, all these activities, give up anger, be self-control. What is control? Is it not by, it's not that we can be controlled by determination. We become controlled if the heart is satisfied, then because everything we're doing, looking at the future and looking at the past, is because the mind is always wanting to be satisfied. But in passion, it's thinking satisfaction is outside of ourself and something else. And looking into the past, if things were only different, lamentation, it's think. So, Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma, to become joyful in the heart. That as the mode, it's explained in 51 to 53 in the purport that one should keep himself in the mode of goodness. And that this is conducive to actually experiencing oneself, that I'm not this body, I'm spiritual. This is the Brahman platform. He says it's conducive to this understanding that, and being joyful within the heart. It's a cultivation. It's the cultivating the mode of goodness. And then he says, what happens when one becomes joyful in the heart? Prasanatma. Nasochati, all desire goes away. All desire for external things. Nasochati, all lamentation goes. Why? Because the heart is peaceful. Because it is joyful. And what happens when the heart is joyful? There's no more desire to criticize anyone. Sees spirit soul has this joyful consciousness. He sees everyone else's spirit soul. Sama sarveshu bhuteshu. It's equally. That's 1854. Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma, coming to this platform of understanding I'm not this body, I'm spiritual energy. One becomes joyful, and as soon as he's joyful, his mind is satisfied. That's what joyful means. Then he has no more hankering, no more lamenting. And what does Srila Prabhupada say? Atmavan manyate jagat. We see everybody else in this world in terms of the quality of our own heart. They call it projection in modern terms, that we see everything. The world is like a mirror. You see things and you're hateful. You see things and we don't like it. It's because we see it in that way. But the Bible says, don't hate the sin. Don't hate the sinner. Hate the sin, not the sinner. Because the sinner, we don't evaluate people in terms of their bodily activities and their appearance. We see people in terms of their real nature. They're also spirit soul, but we can't see like that until we understand that we're spirit soul. So he says, Samasarvesha Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma, you become joyful in your heart. You become joyful in your heart. And all of your desire, hankering, and lamentation evaporates because you're satisfied. And because you see yourself in this way as, I'm spirit, aham brahmasmi. You see everyone else like that. Samar Sarve, see everyone equally. And what does Krishna say? Mad bhaktim labate param. Then you can become a devotee. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada explains that a real Brahmana can become a Vaishnava. A Brahmana can become a person in passion and ignorance. How can he be devoted? He's looking always like the ass, has a big load of laundry on his back, and the cat in front of him on a stick from his neck is a carrot, and he's thinking, one more step, I'll get the carrot. This is the mode of passion. He can't be. So what does it mean to not be hankering? Hankering means the next step, I'll be satisfied. That's living in the future. And what does it mean, lamentation? It means living in the past. So Krishna says that we can attain his devotion when we're not living in the future and we're not living in the past. Nasochati nakangsh. That means to live in the present moment. There's so much online, people talking about living in the present moment, but they're doing it for themselves. But Krishna says, no, you do this to please me. Mana prasada, the internal satisfaction of the mind. If you do that for me, to please the Supreme, those are Krishna's words in 1717. But you engage in this way of cruise control. You move through life in this way with the intention to please the Supreme. This is the austerity of the mind in the mode of goodness, word for word. This is so. If one begins to live this way and deepen it, it becomes this platform. When they're satisfied, to the degree that satisfaction is there, one is released from fruitive activity. It's just a mode of goodness. So then one can be joyful. in this way, then we can approach Srila Prabhupada. The mirror association is like a crystal stone that reflects whatever's before it, like a mirror. Our heart is like a mirror that will reflect Srila Prabhupada's qualities, but the mirror has to be clean, not tied up with na sochati na kankshati, not with all this thinking, if I get this done, if I get that, not this lamenting, this didn't work, that didn't work. If a person is really satisfied in their heart, if things don't work, they don't work. It's okay. Krishna's in control. He can do whatever he wants. I'm not the doer. But it is satisfied. It's the mode of goodness. We have to learn how to live, to set our cruise control. And when we approach Srila Prabhupada with an open, joyful heart, this Krishna consciousness is only a matter of understanding and accepting. Joyful enthusiasm is the measure of our acceptance. That's the real measure of acceptance. As soon as we approach Srila Prabhupada with a joyful, open heart, we can feel his presence immediately. Immediately, he shares his heart with us. We can feel his enthusiasm in Krishna consciousness. So we have to learn. You chant Hare Krishna, sit in front of Sri Murti of Srila Prabhupada, or a beautiful picture of Srila Prabhupada, and chant garland Srila Prabhupada with the holy name. Surround him with the sound vibration of the holy name with a joyful heart, and you'll feel that he accepts it. You'll feel that he accepts it. And when you'll feel his love, we feel his enthusiasm, his joyfulness from him, the ecstatic prem emanates. So it's all a question of how we approach Srila Prabhupada. The thing is that the mirror has to be clean. The association acts like a mirror, that our heart will reflect his qualities, but just the mirror has to be clean. So we have to learn to set our cruise control in life in the mode of goodness. And immediately, as soon as you approach Srila Prabhupada with a joyful heart, chanting Hare Krishna under his then we can chant under his guidance, because we can feel his presence. We can feel his joyfulness, and we can chant in that same way. Then we're engaging in cultivating Krishna consciousness in his association under his guidance. But to open that door, we have to approach him. We have to be in the present moment, not in the future, not in the past, and approach him with a joyful heart, which is the quality of the Brahman, sama, peacefulness. We're full of peace, full of serenity, satisfied mind, feeling joyful. As soon as you feel joyful, you want to share it. In all of our life experience, whenever we're feeling joyful, you want to hug others. You want to share it with others. It's natural. But you can, if you have something in your bank account, you can share it with somebody. If their bank account is empty, we have nothing to share. As soon as our hearts are full with happiness. So Srila Prabhupada, chant Hare Krishna and be happy. Be happy. This is an instruction. I've spoken to devotees who say, oh, this means that if we chant Hare Krishna, one day we'll become happy. No. Chant Hare Krishna Be happy. Be joyful. This is your austerity. Not that you have to sit where the Ganges is melting from the glacier and take your bath in the frozen water. Not that you have to sit in the summer when it's 90 degrees Fahrenheit and surround you in the middle of several fires that are burning. Not that we have to starve ourselves by fasting. We don't have to do those kinds of austerities. The austerity of the mind and the mode of goodness is to live in this joyful, self-satisfied inner peace, serenity, with joyful enthusiasm, utsahan. We have to be joyfully enthused. And if we approach Srila Prabhupada in this mood of joyful enthusiasm, we immediately feel his presence. We have a living relationship. He's not hiding, he's waiting. He's hoping that some of us will approach him as our spiritual master, our spiritual guide. He'll share his enthusiasm in Krishna consciousness with us. So this is the secret, that anyone can do this in a second, to adopt a joyful demeanor of the heart, a devotion, a joyful enthusiasm, and joyful disposition of the heart. He's wanting us to share with us, and we're approaching him with an open, joyful heart to receive immediately. Anyone can make this experiment. Anyone can do this in a second, but it's only a question of understanding and accepting that this transcendental relationship with the external manifestation of God in the heart, the all-pervasive super soul, is waiting for us to approach him so that he can share love of Krishna with us to that degree. But it will, at first we'll just feel his presence, and it'll feel so nice, and we'll think, oh, like Bhaktivinoda, when will I hold his feet until the end of time? Because it's so uplifting. So, but to acquire that, and it's not a question of advancing, of being advanced. It's for the neophyte to have this heart-to-heart relationship. The neophyte, Diksha, heart-to-heart. It's written. So to adopt this mood, it means we accept. And now we're going to open our heart and approach Srila Prabhupada with joyful enthusiasm, and in that chanting for his pleasure. And the more we do, the more he reveals. He shares with us his ecstatic love. And then as we practice like that, it's not static, but it continues to expand. It continues to expand. It gets sweeter and sweeter. And then we say, when will I learn to live like this? To live like this. Always under in the association of our parole officer. He keeps us out of jail. He gives us freedom. So anyone can do this. The key to feeling Srila Prabhupada's presence is to approach him with a mood of joyful enthusiasm and gratitude in the heart, and say, you are my master, I am your servant. Please, Prabhu Kora, give me the shade of your lotus feet. Please let me be with you. That's it. Please let me be with you, my dear, dear spiritual master. You've come here to save me. Please let me be with you. So this is something we have to really desire. And first we're thinking, feeling, and willing. So we're thinking here on this program. And then we're trying to understand this feeling. And then we say, I want it. Then we move in that direction. The realization is instant. The realization is instant. It may not be that we may not become Mahabhagavata overnight, but we'll feel that now I'm protected and I want to live in that way. So all we can do is say it again and again with the hope that one day I also. So when we do it in our sadhana, you see, a pure devotee, everything he does is devotional service. But we have these other propensities for passion and ignorance, self-centered absorption. But in sadhana, we can practice this all for his pleasure. Try to do for his pleasure. Try to please him. Garland him with the holy name. Sound, vibrate. Chant every word for his pleasure. With a joyful, open heart. Then when we get that taste, gradually when we enter our daily activities, we learn how to maintain. We cultivate the ability to maintain that sense of connection. Everything turns into devotional service. All of our activities become sweet. We don't care anymore about success or failure. We just want to walk in his association. So, but at the beginning, but habitually we're fruitive and we're lamenting success and failure. We've done it for millions of births. It's very strong, but in our sadhana, we can cultivate this approaching him with joyful enthusiasm, with desire to please him, and feeling his presence. And we think this is very nice. Let me stay. If I can only remain, when will I hold his feet until the end of time? When, oh, when will? Then the desire begins. Once having a little bit, then the desire begins to, oh, when can I stay like this? Then gradually it pours over into the arena of our daily activities, and we never walk alone. He's our savior. And he'll progressively, in 1.5.25, he says, at first you get a little taste like this. You imbibe the taste, then he says, then the next thing you know, material tastes become unattractive, anartha nivritti. Then one becomes steady. It's all written in 1.5.25. Then he starts to have a spiritual emotions. And then he develops gradually come to the platform of love of God. And all of these stages, quote unquote, all of these stages go forward in the association of the pure devotee. And that is the purport of this stanza, unquote. It expands. It expands. And the price is for becoming infected with his is to approach him with feelings of love, with feeling. As soon as one is joyful, they're loving. As soon as you're happy, you want to share it with others. That's all that love means. It's not infatuation. It's not wanting to find this girl or this boy. It's not wanting to have some sex. That's not love. That's exploitation. That infatuation. It means I want something. Love has no sense of direction. Nobody is special. When a person has love in their heart, it goes to everything that they think of, including themselves, including the stones, including the grass, including the trees, including every living entity. That's what love is, just wishing them all well. And only a joyful heart can have this feeling. They want to share it. That's what love is. When we have a joyful heart, we can approach Srila Prabhupada with feelings of love, wanting to please him, taking pleasure in his pleasure. So we have to cultivate like this aspect of goodness, and for goodness sake, begin to relate to him with joyful enthusiasm and feel his presence. And that tiny line opens the door into the arena of devotional service, where we like it. We want more of it. We want to be with him always because he shares his beauty with us. So this question, how we can do it, that's what we're trying to answer that. Trying to answer it not from my own ideas, but on the basis of scripture. Why Brahminical life is so important.
Mm-hmm.
Srila Rupa Goswami said, Utsaha, joyful with enthusiasm. And Srila Prabhupada says, in any sphere of life, material or spirit, one has to have enthusiasm. And Krishna says when that you cultivate this quality of the heart that knows its own, our own inherent sense of beauty about life, about ourselves, that we feel this satisfaction. Anyone can do that. The quality of the Brahman, the first quality is some peacefulness, inner peace, tranquility, serenity, satisfaction of the mind. As it deepens, one becomes joyful. Prasanatma. Hankering and lamenting evaporate because one is joyful within, and one can then sees everyone else in a beautiful light. We are all spiritual soul. Krishna says, now you can be devotion. Now you can be loving. You can be loving because you want to share. But instead of sharing on the material platform, the same demeanor of wanting others to be happy. As soon as one comes to the mode of goodness, there's altruistic activity. There's humanitarian activity. Philanthropic activity. Why? Not because they should, because one who is loving to others, they enjoy it. They enjoy the happiness of others. As Srila Prabhupada said, this is the mode of goodness. It wakes up. Instead of me first, it's you first. How can I make? But Srila Prabhupada says, it's still an illusion in the mode of goodness, but the serving mood wakes up. He said, you take the same mood and you transfer the account, quote unquote, transfer the account from illusory conceptions to the Krishna and Krishna's pure devotee. This serving mood. It's natural when one becomes in goodness joyful. You want to share happiness. So this is so Sri Krishna says, when you become prasanatma, the first line in that verse, Brahmabhuta prasanatma, becoming joyful within the heart. last line in that verse, Mad Bhaktim Labhate Param. Now you can have a devotional feeling. You can feel love. So from joyfulness comes love. Krishna says, not Ishan says. Ishan doesn't know anything. But I'm trying to understand this philosophy. So it's a huge power. It's a huge power. It opens the door. As soon as we have this outgoing desire to give pleasure, we feel the reciprocation. With every atom in the universe, with this clump of a pure devotee, you see the pebbles, stones, and a piece of gold all the same, because it's not trying to enjoy it. It just feels love. So we have to, if we can acquire the mode of goodness and learn to live in this way, and the mode of goodness is a question of the heart. In goodness is a good heart, Mr. Goodheart. We become Mr. Goodheart. So then we can approach Srila Prabhupada. It opens the door to feeling his presence. Wow, it's so wonderful. And when we begin to feel that, sense it, we say, when will I learn, be able to live this way? I'm always distracted. I'm always forgetful because my mind is searching for that satisfaction. But if I can learn to walk with that satisfaction, it'll free me from that searching. The mind can rest, and we become joyful within, and then the ability to love becomes manifest. And then that love can be focused on Krishna and Krishna's pure devotee. And it's not a question of becoming advanced, it's the beginning. From there it continues to expand. But we have to make that sense of connection from the goodness mode, and then we'll want more of it, and keep growing it, keep cultivating. It's a cultivation of that kind of consciousness. It's called Krishna consciousness. We already have consciousness, but it's polluted consciousness, polluted by passion and ignorance. So, little about trying to share these concepts, but then try them on for size. You want to buy a jacket or a shirt or a pair of pants, you go to the store and you try them on for size, and you say, oh, it fits, it feels good, I like it, I want it, I'll buy it. We have to try this on for size to approach our spiritual master with joyful enthusiasm and feel his presence, and say, oh, please give me the intelligence to somehow or other to remain like this. That's how so Balaram Prabhu, my dear God brother, he's asking, how can I approach? How can I make this come to life? That's how we make it come to life. It's called a leap of faith. It means I don't have the realization, but the realization comes into focus simply by understanding and accepting and engaging on the platform of joyful enthusiasm. It's called, people are thinking, when I become realized, then I'll have joyful enthusiasm. And that's backwards. When I become realized, then I'll have joyful enthusiasm. Backwards. When I have joyful enthusiasm, then I'll be realized in the moment. No, the nectar of devotion. That's what it means, nectar of devotion. As soon as the devotion is there, the one tastes the nectar of it. And you say, oh, I want to live on this platform. Does all this make sense a little bit?
It makes perfect sense.
So we have to not blind. So Srila Prabhupada, I think in that purport we read that, not blind following. Have this realization, and then want more of it. When will I do this till the end of time? When will that day be mine? We will like it. We want it, you know. And so foolish that we allow ourselves to be distracted. As we will become addicted. Srila Prabhupada said to me, it's just like any form of addiction. We'll want more, and we can't live without it, then we're safe. But we have to start to inject. Yeah, we have to start taking the drug, the transcendental drug. And then we'll become addicted. And to take the drug, we have to open our heart in that way. And do this austerity, terrible austerity. What is it? Oh, we have to give up being miserable. That's our austerity. We have to renounce. No, it's true. We have to renounce being miserable.
I'm good at that.
And we have to renounce being being an ass who's thinking one more step, I'll get the carrot, and it never gets it. We have to renounce that kind of miserable pursuit, and we have to renounce wishing the past could be different. How can the past be different? It's the past. But so this is called ignorance. So that's our renunciation. Perfection of renunciation, chapter 18. Yeah, come to the Brahma Buddha platform. Come to this platform where there's no more thinking in the future, nasojati, no more thinking in the past, nakangshati, and be joyful in your heart, and then you can become devotional. That's our austerity. To give up our misery is our austerity. And become in the mode of goodness, joyful. So we say it again and again in different ways just to try and share the feeling a little bit, the understanding a little bit. And it has nothing to do with being advanced at all. One can do it in one day. One can do it in 1 second. As Srila Prabhupada says, one can be Krishna conscious in a second. Just a matter of understanding, accepting. And accepting means the measure of accepting is how much we're joyful, enthusiastic about it. That it's real. I'm going to jump into it. Hey, Lord Chaitanya, Nityananda have their arm separated. They say, everybody jump into the pool. Everybody jump in. That's what why they're like this. Is they inviting. So Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, you know. Srila Prabhupada says, yeah, you're singing Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. He says, so he's waiting for us to approach like that. The representative of Lord Nityananda is our spiritual master. And we'll feel to embrace him with all gratitude and yeah. And so you know, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. We can hear these things,
yes,
but to do it, to make that experiment, Srila Prabhupada said, don't be a blind follower. Make the experiment. Make the experiment. Hey, even then you go and do your rest during your sadhana. Then you forget all day long. You're fruitive and saying, "Oh, this didn't work. That didn't work," or "Oh, if only I can get this, get that." It's in the heart. It's a demeanor of the heart. He said, you forget, but you come back and you do it again tomorrow morning, and you do it again, and you get little shots of it. Yeah. And he's, oh, when will I learn to live like this? This is really nice. This is wonderful. So just trying to explain a little bit, and trying to learn to live this way. Talking about it is helping me to remember we're cultivating this consciousness, this Krishna consciousness under his guidance.
I have one more question, but
Should,
we're not gonna take an answer from you. This will be a continuation for the next lesson, maybe. The question is, because we talked a lot about coming to the mode of goodness, coming out of passion and ignorance, right? So is it that you're experiencing, other devotees at your stage are experiencing more of this relationship with Prabhupada because you've been serving for so many years and have come, let's say, to the mode of goodness, while newbies
the sound is not coming through.
Yeah, it froze. Balaram Prabhu.
It was
It's frozen in time.
It was such an exciting question. I was hoping he would. Is he there? Is he coming back?
I think he's here. His name is there. Oh, he left. Hare Krishna.
Well, yeah, well, from what I got from his question, he said, like, you've been here 50 years. I don't believe that. It's not a question of time. It's a question of when we begin to make the experiment. There's no seniority. They say, oh, senior devotee. There's no senior devotees. I don't believe in senior devotees. We're all neophytes. We're all just beginning, but to open this door, that's a personal choice. First, it's based on comprehension that this is a science, and we're trying to discuss the science, and then don't be a blind follower. Make the experiment, and then you'll know, kind of thing. And one can do it on day one. One could do it on day one, from the moment of coming in touch. Seeing a video lecture, or seeing Srila Prabhupada chanting Jai Radha Madhava, or hearing his lecture, or reading his book, and you say, okay, I'll make this experiment. It can be on day one. Yeah, I believe that. But
right.
a fool like me has to wait 50 years. Yeah, true. I wondered for so many years, how does this work? How does this work? And I would chant japa so loud in the temple that they would put me outside to chant outside, too loud. Because I was trying to thinking, if I just do it. But I didn't have this this aspect that I'm trying to talk about. And anyone can do it anytime, if they believe that he's really a transcendental being, and that he's the all-pervasive external manifestation of the Lord in the heart, and we can have a relation. Then we approach him like that, but we have to approach him with an open heart.
So the limitation is our own understanding, basically. Srila Prabhupada's position is very clear.
Yeah, I have quotes that I've copied from his talks and books, that it's not a mechanical process. the process, but is the holy name and the process of service is so powerful that it will alleviate our anxieties. He says one will experience mitigation of the superfluous unwanted miseries of material existence, quote unquote. Mechanically engaging will alleviate mitigate the unwanted, but it won't get this love thing going. We have to have a person. So I was doing like this, and I would feel I would feel relief by chanting japa very vigorously for 2 hours, what have. But the addiction is not there that I want. It has to be sweeter than that. And that comes by the personal. So we're understanding that this philosophy, like you're saying, it's an orientation. Classes are an orientation session, and then we apply. But this is what I'm trying to describe. I never heard it in any class. I lived with devotees in ISKCON for some 10 years. I've never heard this described in the way I'm trying to present it. They present it like it's a mechanical thing. If you do this, do this, do this, do this, do this, one day you'll have love of God. Bolt of lightning will come and strike you, and you'll have ecstatic love of God. But no, it's an apprenticeship program, a personal relationship with someone who has this love of God, and you associate, and it rubs off on you, and you feel it. It's subtle. It's not gross. It's subtle, and if we have the right openness of heart and joyful enthusiasm, we begin to sense his presence. And then, so I want to share this because I see, because I think I would like us all to do this together. That will give me more strength. And it's something that we want to share. And I think Srila Prabhupada wants us to share this with each other. So like that. Are you in your car?
I'm headed to work.
Oh. Hare Krishna.
So we start at about 5 o'clock. So it's 7:45. So it's time to make some money, I guess.
Yes, that jacket is part of your uniform. The screen has stopped moving again. Hare Krishna.
Hi, Prabhu. So yeah, the jacket is part of the uniform. So
I used to wear one like that. There was an outfit in California called, I think, APS.
Oh yeah, I remember APS. Yes.
I worked for APS. When I
I
left the movement.
You were a security guard.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Post, I was an armed guard for the payroll on the docks in Oakland, California, things like that. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Chant. Okay.
The good part of it is I can listen to Prabhupada's kirtan and things like that, or talk to devotees, and and use my time usefully, because with observing, you can. I'm at the corner. So.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Sounds good, Prabhu. Thank you very much for your association. We'll continue our programs next week. Same time, same place, with Balaram and El. try to join.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare
Joy.
Krishna.
So what, Prabhu, what you'll have to do, you'll have to click leave on the top right. Or do you see leave? You're the host right now. So you have to.
Oh, it says exit. End meeting.